for Tourism, Her Excellency Mrs. Kate Chamley, Australian High Commissioner, Jean Lindsay Azi, representative of the UNDP, Mr. Jumada, acting administrator at the Ministry of Education and Human Resources, participants, partners, and students, and also parents who are accompanying their wards today. A very good afternoon to you all. It's a great pleasure to be associated with this STEM racing event, and I think I had the opportunity to be involved in that right after it got started. So we've had several discussions with Mark, and he came over one day telling me that, we have got this activity that we want to do about STEM, and how STEM racing emerges from Formula One racing, and what it means for Mauritius on the global map, what it means for our young children, well, not so much our children, right? For our youth, and what does it mean for our tourism sector as well. I think this STEM racing gives us the opportunity to bounce off at least few more degrees up within the world ecosystem. And looking at STEM standing for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics here, we have seen a reduction in the interest of our children at school for choosing STEM subjects. You may confirm that from the Ministry of Education. And not just a reduction in interest, but in the people, out of every 3 students choosing STEM subjects as of now, there are 2 boys and 1 girl. Therefore, there's a disbalance as well. And this will reflect at the workplace later. And then we'll have another problem to address. So we might as well address the problem at source. And the problem at source is that today there is a disbalance, and there is also a lack of students choosing STEM subjects. So this STEM racing also has a big impact in that aspect as well, because we think that it can actually arouse more interest in the minds of our youth to select STEM subjects. While you're talking about it to your parents, your younger siblings may be listening to you, and that might also be arousing some interest. In your friend circle, as your friends see you rushing around looking for sponsors, looking for the people who will help you print your cars. So when all that dynamic activity is happening around you, your environment, people in your environment might probably be asking you, so what are you doing? What is that STEM racing thing? I just heard about it. But I should tell you that what you decided to do as, in terms of participating in that STEM racing is already your first step towards winning. And we are all in a race. We are all in a race. The moment you're born, you get into that race. And that race is for you to develop yourself academically, to develop your personal, interpersonal, and leadership and influence skills, and also to search for happiness, which can come as part of the success that you achieve in life. And I think this STEM subject topic brings a lot of contribution in your quest towards these different aspects of your life. And I'm sure many of you might have at some point said, you know what, I am giving up. Is that true? Is that not true? Right, you would have reached those points. You go to see a sponsor, probably the guy doesn't even receive you. Right? You call somebody up, maybe he doesn't respond, while he actually committed to help you. Maybe there's a company that commits to sponsor the event, this whole racing, STEM racing event, and by the end, they chicken out. I'm sure that also has happened. But for those who have had these types of experiences, just be aware that this happens not just at STEM racing even. It happens everywhere in life. And this going through this process is the learning process that you have actually experienced. The ups, the downs, the goods, the not so goods, or are all those things that will carry with you throughout your life. And these will be indelible imprints that will tell you, you know what? And these are lessons in life that you will apply later. Therefore, and that aligns with what Honourable Sidney Pierre said, there's no winner really. You're all winners. And you have all actually fought to come to this point. And one of you or one team will be selected. One team will be selected. I think I've gone through all the booths. I make sure that I meet with each and every representative of the booth and team so that I get a good view. And I was very pleased. I was very pleased to see the work that you have done. And I've seen the sponsors as well. And I would like to, on behalf of Mark, if you allow me, to thank all those sponsors, because you know what? I also take this project at heart, because I really believe in the positive elements that it can bring for our youth and for our country. So from the Ministry of ICT, we've had the Mauritius Digital Promotion Agency. Some of you may know it as the National Computer Board, which has been renamed as the NDPA. So the NDPA has this 3D printer, which I think is still probably very hot out of all the printing that it did. And I've been told that you got very good support from the NDPA, and I take pride in saying that here today. Then we have got, obviously, the other institutions, which are all very important institutions that have supported you. I don't want to mention the commercial organizations for obvious reasons, but you know who you are, and I'd like to also thank you for that. And I think, Your Excellency, always a pleasure to be associated with the Australian High Commission and with yourself. Thank you for this. For the parents who are here, I think you've seen your children go through this tough time. At times you might also have been wondering that, you know, whether it is important to go through that or not. But I think what you're creating is resilience in your children. And for any person in life, it is necessary to create resilience in your personality, in your character, in your conviction. And all that contribute to you also developing your competence in the future. And one thing that I'm sure you've learned here is never ever give up. And this defines your character. And I really think that this STEM project, over and above all the things that it brings to you, it builds you. And there will be several other such events that will come in your life which will continue building you. Others will come and try to break you, right? But the better you build, the less you break, right? And I would like to, on this note, congratulate all the participants, and I'd like you to just join me to give them a round of applause. Very well done. I'd like to also thank the various teams that have helped, and the team from of Mark. One day, Mark came to see me. It was early morning. I don't remember what day it was. He was in the office. And this is when he was told that one of the sponsors is backing up. And he was a key sponsor. And I think the Mark was really down, but not ready to give up. He was really down, but not ready to give up. This is why he came. And when I looked at his face, as we say in Creole, minimum moins 15. And I told myself, you know what? Because I take this project at heart, because I know the positive element, impact that it will bring. So I made it a mission. I made it a mission to get him to smile before he leaves the office. And I think he almost did. Right? I think he almost did. And Mark is very emotional as well about this project. And I think he's been one of the architects. So without asking you for too much, I'd like you to please join me for a round of applause for Mark. Right, and on this note, I'd like to conclude. But before I conclude, there are a couple of things that I'd like to tell you. I think when we last met, we hadn't launched our blueprint. It was we might have spoken about the blueprint, but there's one thing that struck me today. There's one team, I don't want to mention the team, I remember who you are, but there was one team which also talked about sustainability, or maybe two. They said they actually used and reused, I know you like his hair, but they actually used and reused certain materials that were probably about to be thrown away to build their booth. That was great. And there was another team which used materials that were actually, again, ready to be thrown away. Why am I mentioning this? Because in the blueprint, out of the 4 pillars, there's one pillar which talks about digital sustainability. As we go through the journey of digital transformation, we are producing more and more digital waste. And the Mauritian culture is not ready. I'm sorry to say this. There's work that we need to do, but it is as it is, and we cannot pick shit from the clean side, excuse my French. Therefore, we actually need to improve our culture, enhance our culture in terms of the way we handle digital waste. So firstly, in terms of creating it itself, the digital sustainability pillar actually talks about those elements. And we are going to very soon come forward with some policies around reusing existing digital equipment. When a phone gets old, if that phone gets old, I'm about to throw it away. But we should not throw away a phone, because we can still put a life into it. There are some people who are suffering from digital divide. They do not have access to the technology that we have access to. We call that the digital divide. So whether it is a mobile phone or it is a laptop, a desktop, what we are doing together with Mark, we are actually collecting those devices, putting life back into them, and sharing them with NGOs and also with children, with youth who do not have access to that kind of technology. So with that, we are reducing the digital divide. And that to us is really very important. There are a few more things that we've done as at the Ministry for IT. There was this app, that was set up. So one app was called MoCloud, one is MoPass, one is MoKiltir, MoBiz, Moloyo, it goes on. Right? So what we are doing is we are creating a single app. We are creating a single app. And the name of that app, and I want to say it here because you are the people who are going to use it, and you will use it on a daily basis. And the name that we've given to the app is a name that you have probably pronounced at least 10 times since this morning. And the name is Correct. So the app will be called Correct. It will replace all those, momos. So that will be Correct. And we are working on it, and soon we'll have that app deployed. We have very often consulted with the youth, and we want to continue doing that, because whatever we are doing in terms of digitalization, we are preparing a digital country for you guys, so that when you come and run the country, you're able to run it in a digital way. And we know that Generation Z and Generation Alpha, there are different things that you look for. Like our generation, Sydney, we look for the standard of living. We want a car, a house, a land, etc. for us. We manage that. But Generation Z and Alpha, they want quality of life. They want their gym, they want their esthetician, they want their, all these things, which is normal. It's a normal evolution around the globe. So it is our responsibility to ensure that we give you a country that is digital enough, so that you are able to live your life in a way where the digital revolution benefits you. It also benefits people of the different stratas of the society. And as you can count on me as Minister of Information Technology. You can also count on all my colleagues at the Cabinet and all the members of the government to ensure that we work into that direction. And finally, I would like to wish all of you all the very best. There will be one winner that will be selected, but at the end of the day, you are all winners for all the reasons that I said earlier. So thank you very much and all the best.